Hey everybody, this is Benny Slade, host and creator of the MO Sessions. I just wanted to jump on here and record a quick episode and kind of talk about what's been going on, a quick update. This isn't officially an episode, but I did want to come on here and just kind of let you guys know what's going on with the MO Sessions and what's next and moving forward and everything like that. I'm kind of excited to say that these past few days, spending time with family, I didn't take a break. I tried to take the weekends off to kind of focus to get ready for the next week. But it being Easter and my kids are on spring break, I'm kind of taking it easy this week. So that's kind of cool. I'm enjoying that. And through everything, through the pandemic and through everything, I have been vaccinated. And now I'm starting to look forward to like what's next. Cause I know like the world is very slowly opening back up, and where I am here in Atlanta, Georgia, it's Georgia is Georgia. So they have their own political guidelines and everything like that. They think they can do whatever, but, it's something that, I was out and getting fresh air in my lungs and being aware of my surroundings and enjoying time with my family and being inspired again. And I hit a quarantine wall a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago or so. I hit a quarantine wall and it was bad. I think, we've all been there at some point so far. And if you haven't, buckle up because it's a real SOB. I mean, you hit this quarantine wall and you absolutely do not want to, at least like for the magic end of things. I just did not want to do anything. I didn't want to do anything for my membership that I have. I didn't want to do anything for the podcast. I wasn't even thinking about anything. And it was a really tough thing. It was a really tough thing for me to kind of shake and kind of move forward. And it's almost, for me, my experience was that, I kind of had to get a little bit of soul searching going on. I kind of had to dig within myself and kind of say like, this is a temporary time in our, history, and, this is going to change everything, and, and just kind of like push through it. And like, the strange thing is that through this whole quarantine is like, I don't really think about who's listening or the audience or how big it is or like, what. I do get feedback and I do consider it and, that sort of thing. But I don't really think about the fact that you guys are listening, and what I say matters. And it's a really strange thing to think about for me, because I went from doing this as an outlet, a creative outlet for myself, my magic, to share magic with you guys, to share card magic specifically. And it went from that to now I have an audience. I built an audience organically, and that's my phone. I should probably put that on silent. And you guys are listening, so what I say matters, and that's a great thing. That's what I had hoped for. That's I thank all of you guys all the time. Anytime I can. Without you guys, I probably would have stopped with that quarantine wall. So I'm grateful for that. That's one of the things I thought about pushing through it, is that what I say, I have a voice now, I have a platform, and it's important, and I have to be aware of that and move forward with it. So I'm happy to say that I've pushed through the quarantine wall and, just keeping this show going. The show has to go on. My family is healthy, I'm healthy, and I have a roof over my head and food on the table, and that's all I ask for. I don't need much else. Everything else is just materialistic. So, moving forward, I hope you are well. I hope you're staying safe. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. But I had some time, one of my favorite things is I love arts and culture and, that sort of thing. And one of the things I was able to do was I was able to go to the Atlanta Botanical Garden, which is it's a botanical garden here in Atlanta that they put on these exhibits. They had Alice in Wonderland some months ago or whatever, but now they have one called Blooms, and it's all these beautiful, beautiful flowers. Some of them are rare, some of them are, unique in their own ways. and they have them on the growing them in these gardens here in Atlanta, and it's just fascinating. You're smelling aromas of flowers that, like, I've never smelled flowers before, and a lot of people think flowers smell like shit, but that's that's debatable, to be honest with you. And they have benches all the way around, and I just kind of sat there. My family and I, we just kind of enjoyed the day, and we just kind of sat there. And for me, it was more so, yes, being present in that moment, but at the same time, it's about what is my future? What am I doing here? Like, what's my goal here? And I thought about MO, and I thought about the dope, and I thought about everything, that I'm doing. And I'm doing something that, first of all, it's something that I would want to do. If there's something out there in the industry that's not there, then, someone has to create it, right? And what I'm seeing for myself is this is going to just get much bigger. It's hard to kind of explain that. I don't want to explain too much of that on the air, on the podcast. But this is what I can tell you, right? So the dope is now going to be an individual subscription. So that means that if you don't have a membership to the podcast, then you are welcome to get the dope as an individual subscription, just as you would Genie or whatever magazines are out there. I don't know, any magazine. That's just how it works. It's a subscription, right? So you get that, or you can do them individually. So each month, as a subscription, you can get it on there. You get 11 issues. December, I think I'm deciding on whether or not December is going to be an issue or January is going to be an issue. I got to skip one because it would be long. It would be 12 months out of the years. I'm not scaled that way yet. So you get the dope individually as a subscription. And it's exciting because the feedback has been interesting. Like, some of the feedback has been like, well, this issue's not as good as the others. The other issues are much different than this one. Some of the contents are good. Some of the contents are bad, and you're going to get that anywhere, right? But the thing that counts the most is that the dope is not your ordinary publication. So we could come out with just 4 articles in there and have it be a small pamphlet. Or one day we could load it jam-packed with 27 articles in there. It all depends. It doesn't have to be. It's quality over quantity. And that's what's more important to me than anything, is making sure that the quality is there than the quantity. Although, if you have a subscription, you're saving money regardless on it. So if you get an issue, and it has 6 articles in there, and they're, like 4 or 5 pages long, that's a long article. It's a lot of information. If you get nothing from it, then we just got to work on that. It's something we have to work on. So the dope is, we're working on April now. If you hear my son in the background, we're on spring break, so they're enjoying their time home. So if it gets a little loud, sorry about that. Hope your ears are okay. So the dope April issue is underway. It's going to be a little bit different than other issues. The thing is that as a new publication, we're still trying to find our voice. Just like it took me a while to kind of find my voice here on the podcast. So, so the dope is underway for April. I'm excited to see what comes out of it and share the information with you guys as soon as it comes out. It should be out much earlier this month than it was last month. I will admit, because of that quarantine block, I just was not motivated to put it out, if I'm being completely honest. I just had no desire to kind of push for it and put it out. And my editor, who's fantastic, I don't know if he's listening, but he's fantastic because he always kind of is just like, hey, where are we at with things? What's next? What are we doing? And although it may not seem like a lot, it kind of just keeps pushing me a little bit. So I appreciate that very much, because it would be different. I don't know that it would actually be different if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, but I have my desk, right? I'm at my desk right now, and I have all my magic stuff on it, and I'm recording, and like just thinking about being in a quarantine block, like I just didn't want to even sit here. I love sitting here. It has everything I need. But and then when I talk to other magicians, they really like, you guys have really, you have no idea. It sounds ridiculous and silly, but you guys have really pushed me more than like you guys really think. Like I always think about my listeners and my readers and the people who support me and things like that. And I have a fun little announcement towards the end that I'll get to. But yeah. So moving on with the podcast. So we had, the dope is underway. The podcast is always growing. I announced last month a new segment of the podcast called the Second Sessions. I'm not sure if it's going to be session or sessions. I like session, no S. And pretty much what it is I have the MO sessions, which is just going to be individual me solo segments. And then I have second session, which is going to be overall magic discussed, talked about, interviews with magicians and things like that. And everyone's like, just start another podcast. And I'm like, yeah, I could technically, but I would rather have everything under one umbrella rather than have 16 different umbrellas, right? So it might get to that point where I have to separate it, but I just think it would be cool to kind of click on different, what do you call it? Clip arts, podcast artwork that you can just kind of click on and just listen to it and that sort of thing. So that's what we're doing. We're moving forward with that. So it's just going to be magic talked about. It's either going to be a co-hosted segment with me and my co-host, or a guest co-host, I guess is another way to put it, and magicians. If anything, we're going to talk about, magic and where it's at, the current state. I have one episode recorded with magician Mark Merritt, Murray. I don't know. I'm botching it up. I'm sorry, Mark. I was saying his last name wrong this whole time, and he's like, it's not Merritt, it's Murray. And I was like, oh shit, sorry about that. And I'm excited to put that up. I have another episode planned with a few magicians, and we're going to be talking about some fun stuff. And that's the second session. I don't know that I can say that there's a lot of podcasts out there that have more than one segment on one podcast. It's why do you need to like make a whole different conglomerate of a podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like, it should just be, I kind of get it, but I don't get it. Why not just have it under one? So I'm still thinking about that. I might separate them. I may not. It's just, to me, it's like, it's easier to have them all under one umbrella. So I've been kind of taking a step back from consuming and buying so many magic products. There are some books coming out that I'm aware of that I will be purchasing, but at the same time, I don't plan on purchasing a lot of books in the future. I turned off everything. I turned off the Instagram. I turned off Facebook. I turned off, if you know how, for those listening who are friends of mine or we associate, if you know how to get in touch with me. We got rid of our community. I was very upset to kind of let that go, but I came to the realization that I'm not a content creator. I don't create content. I had to decipher between, am I content creating or am I putting products out there and resources for card magicians? And what I found myself doing is that I came into this and I didn't like it. I didn't feel like myself, where I was like always having to create content. It's not for everybody, right? So it's one of those things where it's like I would wake up and have my schedule and everything, and it would be like, I have to record a podcast episode. I have to put out content for the membership. I have to do this. I have to get ready for the dope. I have to. And instead of doing all of these kind of things at once, I decided to focus on what if I was a magician and I had joined this MO session sort of thing and started following, what do I want? I want to read. I'm a reader, right? So I created the dope. I love to read. And then it was like, well, where can I go to support this podcast some more? And then it was like my membership. But the problem with the membership is that I was teaching magic. That wasn't my magic. And now we're in the middle of this whole thing where all these magicians are putting out their own memberships and they're teaching their stuff. I'm not Andrew Frost. I'm not Christian Grace. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and teach my own stuff. I have my own stuff. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to teach it. I taught one thing from my membership, and it was, I didn't feel all the way invested in that. So we are, I'm reworking the membership to where, it's one of those things where it's more focused on the podcast. I have a podcast. I don't have a magic show, or I'm not a magic influencer. You know what I'm saying? I don't see those things that way. So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to create a membership around the podcast and give the listeners who may or may not be magicians or card magicians an opportunity to support the podcast. We are listener supported, and I'll go through all that information at the end. But I'm a listener supported podcast, and what else can I say? Is that you guys want incentives, right? Thank you. I appreciate all the contributions and all that. It's not my intention to have listeners contribute. If you like it, contribute. Leave a review. I'm very grateful and humbled by it all. But at the end of the day, I think it's a fair shake for people to donate or contribute or whatever, and then they have an incentive, whether that be free episodes or the video of episodes, because I have no intention of starting like a YouTube. All the interviews, they're all video and audio. So I have the video of my interviews. I just don't have a platform to put them up on. So you want that in the membership? Okay, cool. You can have that. Things like that. So that's fun. It's a good deal of fun, is reworking some of the stuff like that. Lots more episodes to come for the ammo sessions and second sessions. I'm excited to launch second session and have you guys listen to it. It's just so great to be so inspired, and so many thoughts like rushed through me. It was crazy. I stepped outside and started to spend some more time with my family and stuff, and kind of disconnect from the industry and everything. And it just it fucking hit me like a flood. Like, it just went literally from head to toe and over and over again. It was just like a flood of like, oh yeah, like this is what I'm supposed to be focused on. I don't even know how to describe it. It literally felt like someone just kicked it all out, kicked all the negative out. And I hope you experience that. I hope that's something that you experienced coming out of, what I considered the COVID times. So our membership is being focused around the podcast. I'm really excited about that. One of the things I'm really excited about is I don't have an official title for it yet, but it is an outreach program. And part of me spending some time around town, there's this market up here, and they got like restaurants in there and stuff like that. And my wife and I went out on date night, which like the first time in like a year or so. We have many date nights, but not like this. Like, we actually sat out and stuff like that. Of course, socially distanced and that stuff. And I'm sitting there, and I'm first of all, this market is like, I'm all about business, right? So it's like, I'm sitting there, and this like market is great because it's like there's pods of these restaurants. So there's probably like 40 restaurants in this place, 25 maybe, 30, I don't know, a lot. And you walk around and there's everything: sushi, New Orleans food, or Cajun food, and Creole food, and Mexican food, Mediterranean, like everything you can think of under one roof. High quality stuff, great food. And I'm sitting there thinking like, wow, how fantastic is this? Like, I want to see, like, I'm curious now, what are the numbers? Like, what are we doing? What's each pod making? Like, I go into business mode, Shark Tank mode is what my wife calls it. And then it hit me as we're driving back and forth, but we went 2 nights in a row. And as I'm driving to and from, I noticed these little, like, they look like birdhouses. I was like, that's a really big birdhouse. And I asked her to pull over, and I looked, and they're what's called little libraries. And I was like, take a book, give a book, give a book, take a book. I'm like, that's a really interesting concept. So we stopped at one that was near where we were, and I was looking, I just kind of opened the door a little bit to it. It's just a little library. It's just like on this big wooden pole, and it just sits on top. I wasn't familiar with these. I knew they were out there, but I didn't know there were so many in my area. And I'm looking at the little library and I'm looking over the contents, and there's like Harry Potter and some adult books, not like adult books, but like books for adults. And I'm just looking and I'm like, wow, this is great. Some kids books, toddler books or whatever. And I sit there and I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. Like, what a great way to spread reading and promoting it and everything. I get back in the car and I'm fixated on this idea of Little Library, right? So I say, how can I get involved with Little Library? I did some research and I found out you could start your own little library, right? It's pretty cool. And now that I say it out loud, now I'm like, maybe I should start a little library all of magic books, right? That'd be fun. That's an idea. But more so, the outreach is this, right? My first card magic book was Expert at the Card Table and Expert Card Technique. Those were my 2 card books. And we all know the story of Di Vernon when he was little getting a copy of Expert at the Card Table, and that was his Bible, right? So I thought to myself, well, wouldn't that be interesting if I went around and put a copy of Expert at the Card Table, which is public domain, for those who don't know, it is public domain, and put a copy of those in each one of those little libraries in my area. And that's what I would do, maybe on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, is donate books that have to do with magic. And ideally, like, in a dream state, I thought to myself, could I imagine, I can't imagine because that was me, but being like 10 or 11 and getting Expert at the Card Table for the first time, and you're looking through it and you're just like, wow, what is this? What have I come upon? And it's inspiring to me. So I have decided to kind of go that route and create this outreach program. I know nothing about the technical aspect of creating an outreach program. If you know anything about it, you're welcome to contact me. But I would love to start an outreach program where, like, if someone wants to donate a copy, not their physical copy, I would actually order it, but I would put a note in there. I would print out a little sticker and put it in the back of the book and say, this book has been donated by so-and-so. I would put your name on there. So for instance, I would donate 3 copies of Expert at the Card Table and put them in 3 different little libraries. And I put a sticker in the book that says the Ammo Sessions is proudly donating this book to the little library. Donation person is so-and-so. If you want your name in there. If not, then I probably wouldn't do that. Or I could just get the books and put them in there. But isn't that just, how inspiring, right? How fantastic is that? So that's something I have in the works. I have a few people who, like, I kind of was just casually talking to them and pitched it to them, and they're like, that's a damn good idea. So I'm still trying to figure out, like, I guess the better question is, like, my first book was Expert at the Card Table and Card Technique. What was your first magic book? What was your first book on cards? So, like, I guess the reason I ask is because I'm trying to find out, like, what would be the idea book that I can get in bulk and donate it and put it in these libraries. I would literally take a box full and go to every single little library in my area and put a copy in. How fantastic is that? I'm literally like, hopefully they don't throw it away. I don't know how that works. They're cheap. They're like $7 a copy. But if I can get that down, if you know someone who bulk sells them, let me know. Wholesaling, I would love to know that. But how great is that, right? Nobody, not that I know of, nobody's done that. So I'm excited to say that that's what it is. Where can you find me? Where can you find the podcast? Where can you visit us? And how can you get involved, right? That's the next question. You can find me on Instagram, one Benny Slade Magic. I'm happy to talk. I have magicians contact me often about random things. Some of them I answer, some of them I do not answer. Just because of what I was doing. I should answer them because now I have a little bit more freedom, but my time constraint was just a bit much. Where can you find out more? I'm probably going to put up a page. So what a lot of people don't realize is the way everything is organized is Dead Slight Society Productions is the parent company to MO Sessions. So we don't have a website for that yet. So I'm probably going to push out a website and maybe do it that way. I'm not quite sure. I'm still trying to figure that out. But we are active on Instagram. MO Sessions POD. That's it. That's our handle. And you can go on there, and I'm always making announcements. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out, like, what was everybody's first magic book? You can go on there. The question is up there. And answer it. And wherever you're listening to us and taking the time to, in the car, on your way home, going somewhere, walking, running, exercising, wherever you're listening to us, I appreciate it very much. And one of the things that I am doing is I'm sending out personal letters to everybody who has supported the podcast. If I do not have your address, if I do not have your email, please, please, please send it to me. mosessionspod@gmail.com. I want to have one of these letters sent to you. I appreciate everybody. You have no idea that all of you have written in. Some of you have called me. Some of you have tried to FaceTime me or whatever it's called on Instagram. Instagram FaceTime? I don't know. Whatever. And I am truly grateful that all of you find what I'm doing bad, good, mediocre, not good enough, whatever it may be. All of that makes us better at the end of the day. And to be honest about what I'm doing, and not really, I don't pay attention to what it's doing for the industry at all. But I know that I want to help the industry in some way and contribute, because I'm not about to put out like my own work and stuff like that. Maybe one day, but I don't see that happening. So this is what I love doing. I love talking, I love reading, I love writing, and I can do that with magic. And so can you. If you have a desire to do so, do it. It's possible. It really is. In the past few weeks, I have noticed that a lot of people don't realize it, but on the back end of things, like I can see the numbers of who's listening. I usually get about 150 listens overall to my podcast a week. That doesn't mean like the latest episode or anything. Those numbers are different. What I did not realize is that there's a separate junction to that, which is Apple and Spotify. I can see all the numbers from where I'm distributed, which I don't even want to look at because I know it's crazy if what I'm about to tell you. On Apple, I had over 1,000 listens. Over 1,000 listens. That doesn't include the numbers that I saw on my hosting website. Over 1,000 listens. On Spotify, I had about over 500 listens, so a little bit more than half. I cannot explain to you how floored I was. Talk about like magic, right? Like, wow. The numbers on my hosting site are much different than those numbers. They don't even consider those numbers. At the end of the day, I don't think about that stuff. I don't run anything based on those numbers or anything like that. You guys are listening, and I can't say it enough. I know I've said it many times and it becomes annoying and over. But once I saw those numbers, it really hit me. It really set in that like this is a platform that I need to grow and be here, and do this. So, thank you guys so much. I want to get these note cards, these letters out to you as quickly as possible. There's also some fun little tidbits in there. There's some fun little merchandise that will be coming with the card that I'm excited to share with you. And I hope you enjoyed as well. When you do get it, I ask that you put it on Instagram just kind of let us know that you got it. Thank you guys so much. And I'm excited to everything that's going to come. Everything that's going to come. We're growing. We're, I think my podcast hosting website said we're almost a year old. Almost a year old. It feels like a year already, but we're almost a year old. Thank you guys for tuning in for 30 minutes and hearing me talk about myself in the podcast. Thank you so much, guys. Be safe, be well, and we have an episode coming out soon, I believe, either this week or next week, and can't wait for you guys to listen to it. Be well, stay safe. I'll see you on the next episode.